Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and for this video I'll be continuing for the previous paper for questions 3 and 4. I'm really sorry for posting this very late, but I have been very busy. Alright, so I'll try my best to post videos for the upcoming IG's exams, and I'll try my best also to do more paper 2 as some have requested. Okay, so for this question number 3, well, let's first read the case study. So REW has won many awards for the design and style of its carpets and rugs. All the wool it uses is from local suppliers, so REW's objective for this year is to survive and remain in business. The managing director is concerned that the country's gross domestic product has been falling for some time. During the recession, the managing director plans to start selling Ruse products in other countries. Market research suggests demand would be high. Okay, so REW or RU is okay, I guess. I'm not really sure how you'd pronounce that, but yeah. Alright, so we have gotten so many information in this case study. So first we know that they get their products from a local supplier. Their objective is to survive and remain. However, they are concerned with their gross domestic product. And what else? They're planning to sell in other countries. All right. So first, we have been given an extract from RAW's accounts. All right. We have the current asset rate test ratio, profit margin. We're comparing the 2 years of 2017 and 18. Okay, so number 3A. All right, so the first question is simple. You just have to define, which is only 2 marks. So this is the definition of gross domestic product. It is the total value of output of goods and services in a country at a given point in time. All right, so okay, so you're gonna be given 2 marks if you just state this. However, if you just wrote like output of a country, this will show some understanding, but you will only get 1 mark. Or if you said services produced by a country or amount of goods. Okay, you have to, okay, the 2 keywords here is the value of output of goods or services, okay? And then you can write, okay, you can say in a year or at a given point in time. Okay, so it doesn't really matter, but this keyword or key statement has to be there, that there is a time for this. All right, so it's not like well, it's usually a year, but yeah, you have to specify about the time in order to get 2 marks. All right, so for part B, this is another easy question as well. So you have to identify 2 possible effects on businesses from falling gross domestic product. All right, there's many that you can choose. I just picked the easiest ones from the marking scheme. All right, so you can say lower demand, and it's also easier to recruit employees. Now, when the question states identify 2 possible effects, it's not always something bad, okay? In most cases, it's not always something bad, so it's actually better if you stated an advantage and also a disadvantage, because both of them are effects. All right, unless it's stated otherwise in the question where it says how it affects the business badly or what is the disadvantages and stuff like that. Okay, other things that you can talk about is that they're less likely to invest or expand. Obviously, since there's low demand, there will also be lower profit. The spare capacity increases, and also since there's lower profit, of course you'll have a reduced level of inventories or stock or less output, something like that. Okay, you can choose anything, and anything is fine, like I said. All right, for this one, many people ask, okay, do I have to write a sentence? No. I'm like, you just have to write a phrase or a keyword, like I said, like lower demand or lower sales. But you don't have to explain this. It's only 2 marks, unless you're asked to explain, or you can see in the marking allocation there is more than 2 marks, then yes, you have to explain. Like the following question, which we'll be looking at right now, that is part C. So part C is 4 questions. You have to identify and explain 2 reasons why REW's objectives might change over time. Okay. All right. So this one again, um, well, it could be good or it could be bad as well. So it doesn't matter. And again, I think it's better if you state the good and the bad both. But it's not a big deal as well if you stated 2 goods or 2 bads. There's no problem at all. But it's better for you to understand if you stated opposites. All right, so the first reason why an objective of any business, not just REW, to change their objectives or goals is change in economic conditions. Okay, this always happens in most countries, especially with those countries that have unstable economic growth or economic situation. So the explanation for this is that example. So maybe there's a decrease in interest rates as the country is seeing GDP falling. Okay. And then another answer is that previous objectives have been met. Now this is a good one, and the previous one is a bad reason. Okay, I just showed you how I wrote opposites. So since business has established, like they have already established the business and the business is doing well, so business will be looking for expansion or more things to do other than just establishing the business, of course. Other things you can talk about is that maybe change in profit, so business costs decrease in profit, something like that. um you can also say there may be a change in competition or the market or demand. So example, decrease in demand for the carpets, or competitors enter the market, and stuff like that. And again, you can be creative. You don't always have to get your answers from the marking scheme. However, if you wish to do so, it's fine. It's all right if you're like learning and like answering past papers by yourself. But I suggest to always start and try to use your own words. All right. Next, part D. Okay, identify and explain the effect on RAW of the changes in the following ratios. Okay, so first we have the change in acid test ratio and then change in profit margin. Okay, so what we can see here is that acid test ratio, as we can see the difference here, that it has fell. Okay, so here is 1.2 to 1, and then for 2018 is 1 to 1. Okay, so it has fallen by 0 0.2 or 0.1 approximately. Okay, so all right, now we have to explain, okay, the effect of this situation, which is the falling of acid test ratio. Okay, so REW may have problem paying its short-term liabilities, as it makes it harder to obtain finance. Okay, as we know, you can also talk about reducing creditors or trade payables. Maybe you can state that since the acid test has fallen, the business will be less liquid, okay, when it comes to cash in order to pay their day-to-day expenses. What else? Which is actually the one I stated is pretty much similar to what I've written here, but in other words. You um, and then again, there's also the one where it states makes it harder to obtain finance. And I guess yeah, that's it. And any other answer should be credited. Um, if it makes sense, and uh, if it's related to the question, of course. Also, do not forget to apply here, just to remind you, because this is a 6-mark question. Application is very important here, and it might actually it might help you with marks if you did not state the right answer sometimes. Okay, so um, okay, next is the change in profit margin. Now, for the application part, I would like to tell you that in the application here, it's actually for the change. The answer for the change is the application, because it's already been given in the extract, all right? Mentioning RAW is also an application, if I'm not mistaken, talking about the product of the business. Um, Talking about survivor, selling in other countries, blah blah blah. These all anything that is related to the case study is an application. Okay, so since the profit margin has fallen by 4%, they need to look for a way to increase the added value and lower the costs. Okay, so um, you can also write they may need to sell more products to maintain current level of profit. You can also state that you can say increase prices as well. Yeah, that's it. And any other appropriate answer should be fine as well. Now, for the last part of this question, do you think REW should start selling its products in other countries? Justify your answer. All right. So, when we're looking at other countries, it means expansion, globalization, new place, new people. So you have to always consider these things when it comes to this question. It's always the same. They just change the name of the business most of the time. Okay. So for this part, I want it to be positive and say yes. Okay. You can always say no. Again, you are never ever credited for whether your answer is positive or negative, like yes or no. It is never like an issue as long as what you write is related to you agreeing or disagreeing. It has to make sense. Okay, just make sure it makes sense. Other than that, it's not like oh, should I say yes or no, which one is correct. There's no correct in this point. Both are correct. You just have to know how to justify and talk about your point. That's all. Okay, so I believe that it is a good idea. So REW would have access to more potential customers. Okay, so now I'm listing the good things about selling or expanding outside of the home country, leading to higher revenue, of course. Not to mention, REW will have a greater recognition for its award winning products. Okay, so here we already have like about 4 marks. Okay, so for the justification, however, there could be transport problems which could increase expenses. Okay, again, 4 mark allocation for this 6 mark question. Of course, there's application. Okay, so and also it doesn't really matter. You can have like maybe 3 3 4 2, maybe even 5 1. For regarding the justification and the answer, it doesn't matter. It depends on what you know and what you can write. Okay, so application here is pretty much the same from the previous question, but however, I really did not add these. I just wrote the answer, but you should be able to add these on, like I said, the talking about the product, talking about the award winning, GDP, market research, blah blah blah. Okay, so all of these things. So when it comes to application, sorry, not application, justification, you can also talk about things like existing competition, lack of knowledge of the new place, maybe it's harder to recruit people, stuff like that. You can and also you can talk about the spreading the risk as the GPA in their own country is falling, so it's hard to keep up with the GPA in the other place. All right, so okay, now this point is if you were to say no, if you were to disagree with expansion outside, but you have many choices. It's up to you, but this is the format of writing this question. Okay. All right, next, the last question of this paper, question number 4. So, George has worked in a small flower shop for 10 years. He does not like the autocratic leadership style of his manager and wants to leave. He will decide whether to start up his own business or buy a Bunches Rose franchise. The franchise would cost him $5,000, but Bunches Russ would offer training and support. For either option, George will need to both finance and recruit 2 part-time employees. George knows building customer relationship will be important to the success of this business. And now, again, we have so many information, and let's get to the questions. So first question is pretty much similar to the previous one. We have to define. So autocratic leadership, I believe many of you should define this by heart. It's not hard. So it's a leadership style where a leader expects to be in charge of the business and have their order followed. Okay. So if you were to write manage takes decision without consulting employees, it's also fine. Like you can still get 2 marks also. If you say manager takes or makes all decisions, or if you just say employees have no say in decisions, you will only get 1 mark. You have to specify that yes, employees have no decisions, but you also have to stick these together. Employees no decisions and manager will take control. They have to be in one sentence in order for you to get 2 marks. Okay, part B, identify 2 possible sources of finance George could use. So this is very simple. You can just even use logic if you do not remember. So you can say own savings, bank loan, um, even trade credit, maybe also borrowing from a friend is fine or family, um, a lease or hire purchase, government grant, microfinance, blah blah blah. They're all acceptable. Okay, so part C, moving on to our 4 mark question. Again, you also don't have to apply here, it's fine. But if you want to, it's also okay. You can get good 2 marks for that as well. But yeah, application isn't very important here. Okay, so identify and explain 2 reasons why building good customer relationship might be important to the success of George's business. So first reason, we have increasing sales. Okay, so when you increase sales, okay, so the explanation, increasing sales of the flowers. Okay, now this is an application. I just wanted to show you how you would apply here. And this will just get you a mark, all right? A mark and 1 mark for the reason. And then reason number 2 is of course customer loyalty. So customers keep returning to the shop or to his shop. Okay? Or you can say store. This is also a form of an application where you mention the flower store of George. But yeah, that is it for this question. It's pretty simple. Okay, part D. Okay, this is a very famous question and it comes in both paper 1 and 2, and it's always repeating, I feel like. So it's good if you know this by heart. Identify and explain 1 advantage and 1 disadvantage to George's business of having part-time employees. Okay, advantage. When working, no need to pay wages. All right. Okay, so they only have to pay for hours worked, helps lower labor costs, which is important for a new business. Okay. Uh, you can also say it's more flexible, of course, to hire a part-time employee, provide different skills each time, maybe. You can also help attract workers who only want to work for a few hours. It's easier as well to hire, a faster process. Um, um, what else can we say? I think, yeah, these are the most obvious ones, but if you find any acceptable or suitable answers, it's fine. You can write it. Okay, disadvantage is could create problem when trying to offer a consistent level of service. Okay, so which does not help with building customer relationship. Oops, forgot an R right there. Sorry. All right. Okay. Um. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay. You again. You can also apply here. No problem. Um. But if you were to find an answer that will give you like a good 3 marks for each part, it's no problem. You can skip the application part, but it's always good to have one application or two in a question to be safe. Okay, so do you think George should buy a Bunches Ruse franchise? Justify your answer. Okay, no, I do not think George should do that. Okay, for this question, I choose to be negative. Okay, it's fine, it's all right. You can do that. Okay, so as he will have less control over the business. Okay, I'm stating the disadvantages of why I think buying a franchise is bad for George. And since he did not like the autocratic style of his old manager, so he may want the freedom to make his own decisions. All right, so this is very reasonable, and this is also an application, by the way, not just an answer, as we stated the autocratic style um, from the case study. Okay. Also, it has high cost of $5,000, which may be too expensive for Josh. Okay, so this is the answer for the justification. Now we're gonna justify, or we're gonna talk about the good things of wanting to buy a franchise. So he could benefit from the already established brand. Okay, that's maybe one reason that you can say. Um, a brand image which is safer and persuade customer easier even though it's a new business. You can say that. You can also talk about that he will get help offered from the franchisor or training or support, stuff like that. There could be competition too. Let's say if someone else accepts this franchise and you did not, or George, sorry, did not, then maybe he could have more competitors. Then maybe it's better if he buys it to himself. Um, yeah, and that's it, I guess. You can write any suitable answer, and that makes sense, and that is related to this question. All right, so that is it for this paper, 2019 paper 1, variant 2 of the May June session or season. And yeah, thank you for watching. I am trying my best to post more on paper 2, so stay tuned for that, and wish you all the best for the exams. Thank you for watching.